Hi, I'm Scott Sheldon, and welcome to this episode of Winegazer. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, a few episodes back, we did a little feature on Italian white wines being made here in California. And as promised, we're coming back with part 2, 5 red wines, 4 different producers, grapes that you would commonly associate with Italy, all being grown here in California and being made into some extraordinary wine. So really excited to try all of these. Honestly, I haven't had any of them. And so hopefully, maybe, there'll be a few little gems here that I can recommend that you try out, seek out, and, spend your hard-earned dollars on, see if they're worthwhile or not. So, first wine we have is coming from August Ridge. It's 2009 Primitivo, coming from the Paso Robles area. Rolls in at $26, 14.9% alcohol. And John Backer is the owner and winemaker. Along with his wife there, they run the business. They've been doing this for about 12 years. Both have very interesting backgrounds when it comes to grapes and wine culture. John Backer and his family, they have 4 generations of growing grapes in the Central Valley, the San Joaquin Valley. Not for winemaking though, table grapes, grapes for raisins, but nonetheless, still growing grapes for a specific purpose, dealing with climates, dealing with pests, dealing with all the same things that winemakers who are growing grapes in the vineyards have to deal with. And Jill Backer, several generations of Italian family in her background. Her great-grandfather came here, made wine in his basement in Colorado. So there's a big amount of rich history with wine and food culture in her background, and was obviously a big influence when it came time to, I think, deciding upon what wines to make, obviously, with that Italian background. And it's interesting too because John was kind of looked at as the black sheep of the family, going off into the wine business instead of staying in the table grape and raisin business. So there have you. So let's give this a pour. And actually, talking about Italian wines and stuff, very interesting tradition that I learned about recently is seasoning the glass. If you're going to have a lot of people over to drink, and maybe you have a lot of glasses in storage, they've been in a wood cabinet for a long time, maybe they smell funky, you pour just a little bit of wine in the glass, you just swirl it around to get any funk out, to season it, and you pour it on to the next person's glass, they swirl it, pour it to the next person's glass, etc. And just a little fun tradition. It's kind of cool to do if you're having a little dinner or wine tasting or party or something. So let's give this a pour. Again, very nice label, nice painting on there. Take a look at that. All right, so let's get some air into here. Give it a smell. Wow, very packed with pepper on the nose. Great red fruit flavors coming through as well. Bright strawberries. You have red cherries, sour cherries. Got a little bit of oak coming through as well. It's like some people refer to Primitivo as Zinfandel's spicy cousin. There's a lot of arguments of whether or not they're the same grape. Basically, it's my understanding that they are, but Primitivo is kind of a clonal variation, smaller berries. Some differences with the leaves, I believe. Let's give it another smell. Wonderful. I just love that combination of black pepper and strawberries. If you're a Grenache fan, you may be accustomed to that kind of combination on the nose. And I really find it intriguing, really pleasing. It's just something about it. I just love it. Let's give it a taste. So a lot of pepper, again, it's coming over from the nose onto the palate now. You're really getting that spiciness accompanied by some really tremendous red fruit flavors, red sour cherries, red raspberries, red strawberries again, and serious mid palate on this wine. I really like the way, you get like this real nice frontal attack of fruit, and then just like a continuous, like a second wave of more fruit, acidity, and it's really just, it's livening up like your taste buds. Like, man, I want to eat something, I want to have some food with this. Talking about food, you want to do like some antipasti with this, some charcuterie, barbecue. That's what I'm talking about. Be tremendous with this wine. Barbecue ribs, just a burger, barbecued steaks. That's what you want to like, really simple stuff. Don't get, carried away. Try to get fancy with this wine. This is like a blue collar special, and it's special, don't get me wrong. One more taste. That is really beautiful. I mean, I just love that sour cherry component that you find a lot in wine. It just brings me back to those childhood days of the tangy taffy, the candies that I'd get as a kid, one of my favorites. And that sour cherry component totally is like nostalgic right now. I love it. Great wine, 3 stars, great start to the show. So let's do a little rinse here. So let me show you wine number 2, and then we'll rinse the glass. We're going on again, August Ridge. We got a 2007 Nebbiolo from Paso Robles area, $32 US, 14.7% alcohol. This is all estate-grown fruit for this wine. And it's interesting too because, Nebbiolo has been making some waves in the Central Coast. There's some people that are having, a lot of luck with it. Really like, the outcome. And I think it's going to be something that we see more of in California and the Central Coast area. So very exciting. And Nebbiolo, origin, it's northern Italy is where it's from, it's the noble grape where it makes the wines known as Barolo or Barbarescos. You won't see, very rare you'll see actually Nebbiolo listed, the type of grape on an Italian wine label. Usually you're going to see the area where it comes from. And the 2 most famous ones for Nebbiolo are Barolo and Barbaresco. So, to take a look at the color here, very interesting color. I hope this somehow is really coming through with the light. I know the lighting sometimes sucks in here, but it's a very light color, red, but then it has like almost like an orange brown, especially kind of like at the edge of the rim there. Very pretty color. And, a lot of critics say, color doesn't matter. But, I think really when you have a wine that's a beautiful color, it is worth talking about. Let's give it a smell. Okay, so you got like a lot of spicy oak, a lot of spicy wood coming through. And just wonderful sour cherries again. But it's interesting, these wines, they're not real fruit forward, they're not jammy at all. They're very balanced, both of them, in terms of, spiciness, the wood, the fruit, the tannins. And there's a really great herbaceous component. You got like this rosemary, like oregano coming through. And then you have that topsoil component, kind of earthy, dusty, a little bit of leather as well. Very intriguing nose. Let's give it a taste. So this wine, a little bit more tannic, definitely calling out, begging for food. But again, wow, the mid palate is strong. Both these wines have a lot of acidity. I like what they're doing over at August Ridge. I like what John Backer's doing. These aren't fruit bombs. You know, again, they're just balanced wines. They're, you know, made to go with food. They're not made to please critics. They're made to, you know, sit down and have some great food with them. And, you know, something like this, I'm thinking game. I'm thinking like braised rabbit, you know, duck, that kind of waterfowl thing, maybe some grilled sausages. Those will be really good complements to this type of wine. Give it another taste. Tart cherries. I love the tartness, the sourness to this wine. Again, it's not jammy at all. Very nicely balanced. Great finish on this wine as well. I'm going 3.5 stars. I think the color, you know, put it up for me, that extra half a star. So, two great wines coming from August Ridge. So, let's pour this out. Get ready to talk about wine number 3, coming from Toccata. What we have here is a 2008 Nebbiolo and Barbera blend, and it's 64% Nebbiolo, 36% Barbera, rolls in at $26. Santa Barbara County, AVA, more specifically the Los Alamos Vineyard, cool climate, 200 cases made, and 14.5% alcohol. And this Toccata is one of the brand names of Lucas and Llewellyn. They also put out that's basically Lucas and Llewellyn is like their flagship wine label. They also make Queen of Hearts, which you may have seen in the markets and stuff. And Toccata is their Italian wines. Let's do a little rinse. So both of these wines were co-fermented, aged for I think about 6 months in New French oak. A little bit more in there. Beautiful label, by the way. If you remember from the last episode with the whites, we did a Toccata as well. It's very cool with a guitar or mandolin on there. Alright. Take a look at the color. Nice ruby red, nice and it's pretty clear. I don't know if you can catch that. Get some air going in here. Wow, so it's like cherry and oak and leather coming through. Excuse me. I mean, it's basically like, if you had like cherry brandy or something and you took the barrel that it was aged in and you smelled it, it's a kind of like cherry oak infused, spicy kind of aromas that I got coming through on this. The leather is really pronounced. I mean, it's like a slap in the face almost. And I mean, it's almost a dominatrix, this wine, I'm telling you. Yeah, it's sultry, it's dusty. Very interesting nose. Let's give it a taste. Good mouthfeel. Acidity, I would say medium acidity. A little weak on the mid palate. A little bit of that sour red fruit on the finish. Not extraordinary. I like the nose a lot on the wine. It's pretty good. It's just, I have a little bit of a problem, I would say, with the mid palate on this wine. And actually more the finish is a little bit lacking. I'm going 2.5 stars. It's a good wine. Still interesting to check out, if you want to kind of see how does Nebbiolo and Barbera, work in a blend coming from California. It's not something you see every day. Yeah, 2.5 stars, not bad. So, I'm thinking we have 5 wines to get through. Let's take a break. I'm going to cut this into a 2-parter. So, I'm going to post this episode, part 2, with these 2 wines. Going to be up in a day or 2 after that. And so I want to say thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Until next time, cheers.